is foolish. Like Elder Tahar said earlier, you Rothschilds and all you that trickle on down from the top there, y'all are stupid as hell, man. I mean, and they're vile. And very vile, man. Alex Jones, he mentioned this, these guys, their artwork. And man, their artwork is like full of babies being eaten by demons, and they had a movie on it was kind of like a docu-movie, so to speak, like a biography when on this guy Dr. Kevorkian, Dr. Death. And they show in the movie on HBO the artwork he was into, man. The artwork was just babies being eaten by demons, demons busting out of women's wombs. They're vile people, man, and they're foolish. They actually think that they're going to outdo the prophecies of the Most High.
Let me say this too. Go ahead. Now, read that scripture says that the vile man shall no longer be called liberal. Now, liberal means basically a fair person, right? Now, Esau, he's this vile person, but he's being called liberal by the masses. He puts on a suit, and you got people voting for him, people screaming loud for the white man to get more rulership, go on further in his wickedness,
Let him make his comment.
Well, that's it.
Yeah, I just want to say, let me say something here. An example of that shall be called liberal, like you said. They looked at as being esteemed, like Evelyn Rothschild, which he's a vile piece of crap. But he comes on TV, he wears that suit, and everybody looks at him as this English country gentleman. And he's nothing but a vile piece of dog shit. That's all he is. And if he's still alive after this goes down, he's going right into slavery, as old as he is. And his son, another example is his son. We call him Caesar Borgia, but his David D. Rothschild. He's also looked at as being liberal, but he's another vile piece of shit. So that's an example of that scripture. Okay, who's next?
I think he had one.
This is verse 6, Isaiah 32, verse 6. For the vile person will speak villainy, and his heart will work iniquity to practice hypocrisy and to utter error against the Lord, to make empty the soul of the hungry, and he will cause the drink of the thirsty to fail.
You can make a comment on it, brother.
Yeah, but I mean, pretty much everything that the so-called white man has going is, he lives by hypocrisy. He's a hypocrite. He's a liar. He's the father of lies. And so all that's going to pretty much come to an end. When you read the verse up ahead, so all that's going to come to an end. He's not going to be permitted the liberty to speak villainy anymore, because the Most High is going to bring down his power. But it shows that's what he's about. He's not going to speak truth,
Yeah, the Hebrew word for villainy is nabala, which means it says senselessness, folly, disgraceful, of immorality, profane actions. And we know that word profane from the Latin profanum, which means outside the temple. So really anything that's outside of the scriptures, which is what the so-called white man engages in, is profane, and that's what these bankers, all what these bankers do are profane actions, because all their actions are outside of the scriptures. Like when they set up the Federal Reserve, that's a violation of the book of Leviticus, the 19th chapter, the 35th verse, where the Lord said, "You shall not have unjust weights and measures." So all their actions are basically profane, which means outside of the scriptures. And then you see the word immorality there. And as you read on, it says disgrace, contumely disgrace, foolish. And that's the so-called white man. By him setting up them GMOs, that's a foolish act. By him putting chemtrails in the same air that he breathes, that's a foolish act. So you have enough proof and evidence that this man is a damn clown and he's a fool. And that's why he's going to be yanked out of rulership. And that's the Most High created him to be that way. Above all, the Most High created the so-called white man, beginning with the elite banking families. They're the top family of Esau. The Lord created them to be the masters of disaster. The Lord created them to be the madmen of the planet Earth. The Lord made them that way. So they can't change.
Yes,
This is Job 30:1. But now they that are younger than I have had me in derision, whose fathers I would not have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished? For want and famine they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness, in former time desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys and caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Among the bushes they brayed, under the nettles they were gathered together. They were children of fools, yea, children of base men. They were viler than the earth.
Scriptural example, you know,
There goes
like
that word again. I was just saying.
what's vile men. Yeah, that's a scriptural example.
Mm-hmm.
And you go back to the time period of the Khazar Empire, which was so-called Jews, Edomites. That's how they were living.
That's right.
Vile, real vile, you know. And the same thing with the Bourgeois. Supposedly they were cleaned up, and they were wearing, they were looking so-called human, or human-like. I'm talking about the Bourgeois family, but they were vile.
They're very vile.
Caesar Borgia was so vile that the book The Prince by Machiavelli was written about Caesar Borgia and his vile acts, how wicked he was. Now you fast forward to today, the so-called white man he's still continuing that tradition of being vile.
That's right.
Destroying the earth, bringing the chemtrails. So that's his history, from start to finish.
That's right.
So
Let me
who's the
just
next
bring
one?
this scripture out real quick. This is Isaiah, and then your precept, and then you had a point. Okay. Okay, well, here, make your point.
I was just going to say also, these are the same devils who are passing legislation so that men in the military can sleep with animals. They actually met at a round table, put on suits, drunk blood, and made a decision that it's okay for a man to have sex with an animal. And in New York, down here where we at, they passed a law that watching child pornography was legal.
You know why they did that? Let me say, because government workers were steadily getting caught on their computers with child porn on their computers, man. This man is vile, man.
That's right. And if I can add something on to what Yashawamba was saying,
Come.
you have NAMBLA.
Oh, NAMBLA, yep.
National Association of Men. That's wicked. That's the most wicked, vile act out there. That's terrible. To have an organization to promote homosexuality, pedophilia, all that wickedness.
It's wicked. Let me get this scripture real quick. This is Isaiah 26:10. It says, "Let favor be showed to the wicked, yet will he not learn righteousness. In the land of uprightness will he deal unjustly, and will not behold the majesty of the Lord." Now, obviously that goes into those rats that are over there in our land, but that goes for all Edomites, man. Them rats, they over there in Israel, man, they got the nerve to say that they kosher pig, man. Here you go, brother.
All right. And basically, this so-called white man, he does this stuff just because he can, man. He fucks up the earth just because he can, basically. And this is Micah chapter 2, verse 1. Woe to them that devise and besides the fact that he's besides the fact that he's under Satan and doing what he's supposed to do is destroy the earth.